Grandma saves dog from mud, then screams when she sees what's buried beneath. The aroma of freshly baked apple pie wafted through the quaint farmhouse, mingling with the sweet scent of honeysuckle that climbed the porch trellis. Emily hummed a cheerful tune as she carefully placed the pie on the windowsill to cool, her wrinkled hands gently smoothing the edges of the golden crust. Sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow on the worn wooden table and the mismatched chairs that had witnessed countless meals and conversations over the years. A vase filled with wildflowers, picked from the meadow that morning, added a splash of vibrant color to the cozy scene. Emily, her silver hair neatly pinned back, surveyed her domain with a sense of contentment. This farmhouse, nestled amidst the rolling hills of Willow Creek, had been her sanctuary for the past 20 years, a haven of peace and tranquility after a lifetime of bustling city life. She had moved to Willow Creek following the passing of her beloved husband, John. The city, once a vibrant backdrop to their shared life, had become a constant reminder of his absence, its noise and crowds a stark contrast to the quiet companionship they had cherished. Willow Creek, with its friendly faces, its slower pace, and its connection to nature, had offered Emily a solace she hadn't found anywhere else. She had embraced the rhythm of rural life, finding joy in the simple pleasures of gardening, baking, and engaging in friendly banter with her neighbors at the local farmers market. But her greatest source of comfort was Buddy, her faithful golden retriever. He was more than just a pet. He was her companion, her confidant, a furry extension of her heart. His presence filled the void left by John, his playful antics a balm to her sometimes lonely soul. Every morning, as the sun painted the sky in hues of pink and orange, Emily and Buddy would embark on their ritualistic walk, a leisurely exploration of the fields and meadows that surrounded her farmhouse. It was a time for reflection, a time to connect with nature, a time to simply enjoy the companionship of her beloved canine friend. They would follow the winding dirt road that snaked through the countryside, passing by Farmer Giles's sprawling cornfields, the old oak tree that stood sentinel at the bend in the lane, and the babbling creek that meandered through the valley. Buddy, with his boundless energy and insatiable curiosity, would sniff every blade of grass, chase every butterfly, and greet every passerby with enthusiastic barks and wagging tail. Emily, in turn, would revel in his joy, her heart swelling with gratitude for the simple pleasures of life in Willow Creek. But on this particular morning, a subtle sense of unease hung in the air. The usually vibrant birdsong seemed muted, the air unusually still and heavy. A nagging feeling of disquiet tugged at Emily's heart, a premonition that something was amiss. As they passed by Farmer Giles's cornfield, a flash of white fur caught Buddy's attention. A mischievous rabbit darted out from the tall stalks, its fluffy tail bobbing enticingly. Buddy, his hunting instincts awakened, let out an excited bark and took off in hot pursuit, his golden form disappearing into the sea of green. Emily, startled by his sudden burst of energy, called after him, her voice a mixture of amusement and concern. "Buddy, come back here, you silly dog," she shouted, her words carried away by the uncharacteristically still air. But Buddy was too engrossed in his chase to heed her calls. He bounded through the cornfield, his barks echoing through the stalks, his nose twitching with the thrill of the hunt. Emily, with a sigh of resignation, followed after him, her pace quickening as she navigated the uneven terrain. She emerged from the cornfield into a small clearing, her eyes scanning the area for any sign of her wayward companion. A series of frantic barks led her towards a small, muddy puddle, nestled amidst a cluster of willow trees. There, in the center of the puddle, stood Buddy, his golden fur caked in mud, his expression a mixture of panic and frustration. "Buddy, what have you gotten yourself into?" Emily exclaimed, rushing towards him. She reached the edge of the puddle and knelt down, her heart sinking as she realized the predicament her furry friend was in. Buddy was stuck, his legs sunk deep into the thick, clinging mud, his struggles only serving to mire him further. "Oh, you poor thing," Emily cooed, her voice filled with concern. She reached out a hand, attempting to pull Buddy free, but the mud held him fast. "Don't worry, buddy," she reassured him, her voice calm despite her growing anxiety. "I'll get you out of there." She tried again, pulling with all her might, but Buddy remained firmly entrenched in the mud. She realized that this was no ordinary puddle. The mud was deeper and stickier than she had initially thought. As she struggled to free Buddy, her eyes caught a glimpse of something beneath the murky water, something dark and ominous lurking beneath the surface. A shiver ran down her spine, a sense of unease settling over her. What was that hidden beneath the mud? Was it just a submerged log, or something more sinister? Emily's concern for Buddy was now mingled with a growing sense of apprehension. She knew she needed help and fast, but her cell phone, usually a lifeline to the outside world, had no signal in this secluded corner of the farm. She was alone, with only her wits and her determination to rely on. Emily took a deep breath, steeling herself for the challenge ahead. She wouldn't give up on Buddy no matter what. She would find a way to free him from this muddy prison, even if it meant facing her own fears and confronting the unknown dangers lurking beneath the surface. Emily's initial attempts to free Buddy were met with frustrating resistance. The mud, a thick, clay-like substance, clung to his fur with an unrelenting grip. Each tug and pull only seemed to sink him deeper, his whimpers growing more desperate with every passing moment. Panic clawed at the edges of Emily's composure. Her heart hammered against her ribs, and her breath came in ragged gasps. She felt a wave of dizziness wash over her, a reminder of her age and her limitations. "Oh, Buddy," she cried, her voice cracking with despair. "What am I going to do?" She scanned the surrounding area, her eyes desperately searching for any sign of help. The clearing, however, remained stubbornly empty, the only witnesses to her plight the whispering willows and the indifferent crows circling overhead. Her gaze fell upon the old farmhouse in the distance, a dilapidated structure that had stood empty for as long as she could remember. Perhaps there was something inside, a rope, a shovel, anything that could aid in her rescue mission. But the thought of leaving Buddy alone, even for a moment, filled her with dread. What if he sank further while she was gone? What if he panicked and injured himself? Torn between the need to seek help and the fear of abandoning her beloved companion, Emily felt a surge of helplessness wash over her. Tears welled up in her eyes, blurring her vision. Just as despair threatened to consume her, a flicker of movement caught her attention. A figure emerged from the cornfield, a tall, lanky man with a shock of red hair and a backpack slung over his shoulder. He approached cautiously, his eyes widening as he took in the scene before him. "Ma'am, are you all right?" he called out, his voice tinged with concern. Emily, startled by his sudden appearance, managed a shaky nod. "My dog. He's stuck," she stammered, pointing towards the mud-caked Buddy. The man, his face creased with concern, wasted no time. He dropped his backpack and waded into the mud, his long legs sinking into the mire with surprising ease. "Don't worry, ma'am," he said, his voice reassuringly calm. "We'll get him out." He introduced himself as Daniel, a traveling salesman making his rounds through the countryside. He had taken a shortcut through Farmer Giles's property, hoping to avoid the midday traffic on the main road. Emily, her heart filled with gratitude for this unexpected assistance, explained Buddy's predicament. Daniel, with a gentle touch and a reassuring smile, assessed the situation. "This mud is thicker than I thought," he said, his brow furrowed in concentration. "We'll need to work together to get him free." He instructed Emily to pull on Buddy's collar while he lifted from beneath the dog's belly. They heaved and strained, their combined efforts slowly gaining traction against the stubborn mud. Buddy, sensing their determination, thrashed his legs, finding some purchase in the mire. With a final, concerted effort, they pulled him free, sending a shower of mud and water flying in all directions. Buddy scrambled out of the puddle, shaking himself violently, his joyful barks echoing through the clearing. He bounded towards Emily, licking her face with unrestrained enthusiasm, his tail wagging so hard his whole body wiggled. Relief washed over Emily as she hugged Buddy close, burying her face in his fur. "Oh, buddy, you're all right," she exclaimed, her voice choked with emotion. Daniel, covered in mud but grinning from ear to ear, watched the reunion with a warm feeling in his chest. "He sure is a tough one," he said, clapping Buddy on the head. But the moment of relief was quickly replaced by a renewed sense of apprehension. The mysterious object still lay submerged in the mud, a silent reminder of the potential danger lurking beneath the surface. "We can't just leave it there," Emily said, her voice grave. "What if someone else stumbles upon it?" Daniel nodded in agreement. "You're right. We need to see what it is." With a mixture of curiosity and trepidation, they approached the puddle. Daniel, being taller and stronger, volunteered to retrieve the object. He waded back into the mud, his eyes fixed on the submerged shape. He reached down, his fingers sinking into the cold, slimy mud. He grasped the object, pulling it free with a sucking sound. As he lifted it out of the water, they both gasped. It wasn't a piece of farm equipment or an old pipe, as they had initially suspected. It was something far more sinister, something that sent a chill down their spines. It was an old, rusted bomb, its shape unmistakable, its fins still intact. The years of immersion in the mud had obscured its true nature, but now, exposed to the light of day, its deadly potential was undeniable. "Oh my God," Emily whispered, her hand flying to her mouth. "It's a bomb." Daniel's face paled. "An unexploded one," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. A wave of fear washed over them, the realization of the danger hitting them with full force. They had been playing in the shadow of death, oblivious to the deadly relic hidden beneath the mud. "We need to get out of here," Daniel said, his voice urgent. "Now!" They retreated from the clearing, their hearts pounding, their minds reeling from the discovery. They kept a safe distance from the puddle, their eyes fixed on the ominous shape of the bomb. Emily's thoughts raced. How had a bomb ended up in this peaceful corner of the countryside? Was it a relic from the war, a forgotten piece of history that had resurfaced to haunt them? She remembered stories her grandfather used to tell, tales of a nearby military base that had been active during World War II. Could this be a leftover from those days? A dormant threat that had lain hidden for decades? The questions swirled in her mind, but there was no time for answers now. They needed to get help, to alert the authorities, to ensure that no one else stumbled upon this deadly relic. Daniel, ever resourceful, had already pulled out his cell phone and was dialing 911. He relayed their location and the situation, his voice calm and steady despite the tremor in his hands. As they waited for the authorities to arrive, Emily couldn't help but reflect on the fragility of life, the unexpected dangers that lurked beneath the surface of everyday existence. The peaceful countryside, her sanctuary, her haven, had suddenly become a place of fear and uncertainty. But amidst the fear, there was also a sense of gratitude. Gratitude that Buddy was safe. Gratitude that Daniel had been there to help. Gratitude that they had discovered the bomb before it could cause any harm. And as the sirens wailed in the distance, signaling the arrival of help, Emily felt a renewed sense of hope. The community would come together, as it always did in times of crisis. They would face this challenge together, and they would overcome it. The echoes of the past had resurfaced, but they would not be defined by them. They would learn from them, they would grow from them, and they would emerge stronger and more resilient than ever before. The arrival of Sheriff Thompson and his deputies brought a wave of both relief and heightened tension to the clearing. The area was quickly cordoned off with yellow tape, the flashing blue lights of the patrol cars casting an eerie glow on the surrounding trees. Emily and Daniel, still shaken but now feeling a sense of safety, recounted their experience to the sheriff, their voices echoing in the sudden stillness of the usually peaceful countryside. Sheriff Thompson, a seasoned law enforcement officer with a weathered face and a calm demeanor, listened intently, his brow furrowed in concern. He radioed for the bomb squad, his voice betraying a hint of urgency that underscored the gravity of the situation. As they waited for the bomb squad to arrive, Emily and Daniel found themselves drawn together by the shared experience. Daniel, who had initially been a stranger, now felt like an ally, a comrade in the face of unexpected danger. They shared stories of their lives, finding common ground in their love for animals and their appreciation for the simple beauty of Willow Creek. Emily learned that Daniel was a struggling artist, traveling the country in search of inspiration and selling his paintings at local fairs and markets. He had a gentle spirit and a keen eye for detail, capturing the essence of the landscapes he encountered in his vibrant watercolor paintings. Daniel, in turn, was captivated by Emily's stories of her life in Willow Creek, her deep connection to the community, and her unwavering love for Buddy. He was struck by her resilience and her quiet strength, qualities that shone through despite the fear and uncertainty of the situation. As they talked, their conversation drifted towards the mysterious bomb, its presence casting a long shadow over their newfound camaraderie. Emily, her curiosity piqued, recalled the stories her grandfather used to tell about Willow Creek's history. "My grandfather used to say that this area was used as a training ground during World War II," she said, her voice hushed with a mix of fascination and apprehension. He spoke of soldiers practicing maneuvers, of explosions echoing through the valley. Daniel's eyes widened with interest. "That's fascinating," he said. "It's amazing to think that this peaceful place was once a scene of such activity." Emily nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. "I wonder if this bomb could be a leftover from those days," she mused. "A forgotten relic of a bygone era." Daniel, ever the artist, was captivated by the idea. "It's like a whisper from the past," he said, his voice filled with wonder. A hidden story waiting to be uncovered. Their curiosity led them to delve deeper into Willow Creek's history. They visited the local historical society, poring over old photographs and documents, searching for any clues about the area's wartime past. They spoke to the town's oldest residents, gathering fragments of memories and anecdotes that painted a picture of a community transformed by the war effort. They learned that Willow Creek had indeed been home to a military training camp, a bustling hub of activity where young soldiers prepared for the challenges of combat. The camp had brought an influx of people and resources to the town, transforming its quiet rhythm into a whirlwind of activity. But the war had also brought its share of sorrow and loss. Young men from Willow Creek had gone off to fight, some never to return. Families had been torn apart, lives forever changed by the conflict that raged across the globe. As Emily and Daniel pieced together the fragments of history, they felt a growing connection to the past, a sense of shared experience that transcended time. The bomb, once a symbol of fear and danger, now represented a tangible link to a forgotten chapter of Willow Creek's story. The arrival of the bomb squad, a team of experts in protective gear, brought a renewed sense of urgency to the scene. They carefully assessed the situation, using specialized equipment to determine the type of ordnance and its level of risk. The news of the bomb spread quickly through the small town, drawing a crowd of anxious onlookers to the edge of the cordoned-off area. Whispers and speculations filled the air, a mix of fear, curiosity, and a sense of shared vulnerability. Emily and Daniel, standing side by side, watched as the bomb squad prepared for the delicate task of disarming the unexploded ordnance. The tension was palpable, the silence broken only by the chirping of crickets and the distant barking of a dog. The bomb squad leader, a stern-faced woman with a no-nonsense demeanor, explained the situation to the crowd, her voice amplified through a megaphone. She outlined the potential risks and the precautions being taken, assuring everyone that their safety was their top priority. A hush fell over the crowd as the bomb squad carefully approached the bomb, their movements precise and deliberate. Emily held her breath, her heart pounding in her chest. Daniel, sensing her anxiety, gently placed a hand on her shoulder, a silent gesture of comfort and support. The waiting was agonizing, each minute stretching into an eternity. Emily's mind raced with thoughts of what might happen, the potential consequences of a misstep, the fragility of life hanging in the balance. But amidst the fear and uncertainty, there was also a sense of community, a shared experience that bound them together in a moment of collective vulnerability. They were all in this together, facing the echoes of the past with a mix of trepidation and resilience. The bomb squad leader's voice, amplified through the megaphone, cut through the tense silence. "We're going to proceed with a controlled detonation," she announced, her tone firm and authoritative. "Please remain calm and stay behind the safety perimeter." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. Emily felt a surge of adrenaline, her heart pounding in her chest. She squeezed Buddy close, burying her face in his fur, seeking comfort in his warm presence. Daniel, sensing her anxiety, tightened his grip on her shoulder, offering a silent reassurance. The bomb squad, clad in protective gear, moved with practiced precision, their movements a well-rehearsed choreography of caution and expertise. They carefully placed charges around the bomb, their faces grim but focused, their every action imbued with a sense of purpose. The final moments before the detonation stretched into an eternity. The air crackled with anticipation, the silence punctuated only by the chirping of crickets and the distant rumble of thunder. Emily closed her eyes, bracing herself for the inevitable explosion. Then it came, a deafening roar that shook the ground beneath their feet, a shockwave that rippled through the air, sending a tremor through the surrounding trees. A plume of smoke and debris erupted from the clearing, momentarily obscuring the scene in a cloud of dust and ash. Emily opened her eyes, her vision blurred by the lingering smoke. The clearing, once a picture of rural tranquility, was now scarred and blackened, a testament to the destructive power that lay dormant beneath the surface. But amidst the destruction, there was also a sense of relief. The bomb, a relic of a bygone era, had finally been silenced. The danger had passed, the threat neutralized. A collective sigh of relief swept through the crowd. Applause erupted, a spontaneous expression of gratitude and admiration for the bomb squad's expertise and courage. Emily, her heart still pounding, joined in the applause, tears of relief streaming down her cheeks. In the aftermath of the explosion, the community of Willow Creek came together with renewed strength and unity. Neighbors checked on each other, offering support and comfort. The local diner provided free meals to the emergency responders, and the church organized a prayer vigil for the safety of all involved. Emily and Daniel, hailed as local heroes, found themselves at the center of the community's attention. Their story, a tale of unexpected danger and courageous action, spread throughout the county, their names appearing in the local newspaper and their faces gracing the evening news. Buddy, the unwitting hero of the day, became a local celebrity, receiving extra treats and belly rubs from everyone he met. His adventure, a testament to the resilience and loyalty of dogs, became a source of pride for the entire town. The incident, however, had a profound impact on Emily. The peaceful countryside she cherished, once a symbol of safety and predictability, now held a new layer of complexity. She realized that the echoes of the past could reach into the present, disrupting the tranquility of everyday life. But she also understood that it was precisely in such moments of crisis that the true character of a community was revealed. The people of Willow Creek had faced the unexpected with courage and compassion, their unity a testament to the enduring spirit of small-town America. The mud puddle, once a source of fear and uncertainty, became a symbol of resilience and community spirit. It served as a reminder of the hidden dangers that could lurk beneath the surface, but also of the strength and determination that could be found in the face of adversity. Inspired by the events, Emily and Daniel, with the support of the community, spearheaded an initiative to delve deeper into Willow Creek's history. They organized a research project involving local historians and volunteers to uncover the full extent of the area's wartime past. Their efforts led to the discovery of old maps, documents, and photographs that shed light on the forgotten military training camp. They unearthed stories of bravery and sacrifice, of lives transformed by the war effort, of a community that had played a vital role in the nation's history. The culmination of their research was a small museum exhibit, housed in the local library, dedicated to Willow Creek's wartime legacy. The exhibit showcased the artifacts they had uncovered, the stories they had gathered, and the memories they had preserved. The museum exhibit became a source of pride for the community, a testament to their shared history and their resilience in the face of adversity. It served as a reminder of the sacrifices made by previous generations and a tribute to the enduring spirit of Willow Creek. Emily, reflecting on the events that had unfolded, felt a sense of gratitude and closure. The bomb, a relic of a turbulent past, had not only brought danger but also a deeper understanding of her community and its history. She continued her peaceful life in Willow Creek, her walks with Buddy now imbued with a new layer of appreciation for the land and its stories. The bond she shared with her neighbors, forged in the crucible of a shared experience, grew stronger with time. And as the sun set over the rolling hills, casting a golden glow on the tranquil countryside, Emily knew that the echoes of the past would forever be a part of Willow Creek's story, a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit and the enduring power of community.